Meanwhile, Andrew, Elon Musk says now he is considering suing the Anti-Defamation League for lost advertising revenue on X, formerly known as Twitter. Over the weekend, Musk wrote on X, quote, "The ADL has been trying to kill this platform by falsely accusing it and me of being anti-Semitic." Musk claims ad revenue down 60% in the U.S. because of that, adding he's against anti-Semitism of any kind. Back in May, the ADL released a report saying the platform does not do enough to combat hate speech. This as researchers found thousands of anti-Semitic posts after Musk gained control of the site and reinstated previously banned accounts. Joining us now here in studio, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, good morning. So it looks to most people like Elon Musk overpaid maybe by 2x for something that he wanted in Twitter.
Right.
He allowed extremists back onto the site. You guys have documented how the anti-Semitism has come back to Twitter in waves. Meanwhile, it's a terrible user experience. So revenue is down, and he blames you, to which you say what?
Well, look, I mean, I can't tell you exactly why Elon is doing this, but what I can tell you is many of the claims he's making are just wrong. So I've never accused him of being anti-Semitic. The platform itself clearly isn't inherently anti-Semitic. And I would challenge him to find a single advertiser on whom we put any pressure, because we're simply not doing that. At the same time, I'm not going to stop calling out anti-Jewish hate. That's my job as the head of the ADL, to stop anti-Semitism, racism, all forms of bigotry. And the truth is there is a problem on the platform. It's not unique to Twitter, but Twitter has uniquely, in the last 6 to 9 months, brought on all these different extremists and anti-Semites.
And it looks, John, to most people like the website has tanked and he needs a scapegoat, and here comes the ADL.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a scapegoat that, as we hear throughout history,
right,
with so much anti-Semitism behind it. So talk to us about, as you watch Twitter, how has it changed in the Musk era? And you're not saying that he himself is anti-Semitic, but tell us how you see that site give cover to those who are.
Well, there's no doubt that Twitter has never been good. Under the previous management, we had lots of problems as well. But what we've seen is a lot of these extremists have been re-platformed.
Right.
And you just have to open up your phone and look at what's happening right now. Put in the hashtag ban the ADL. That's what started to trend over the weekend. After, Jonathan, I met with Linda Yaccarino, the CEO, who I met with because we want to be helpful. Look, the world would be a better place if Twitter was less full of hate. The world would be a better place if it was safer and better. But after I met with her and tweeted out that that meeting had happened, the white supremacists went wild. And what's scary is this is happening in a moment when anti-Semitism is at a historic high. We had Nazis marching openly in Florida this weekend, chanting, ban the ADL. What they brought to their march came literally from Twitter.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So Andrew Ross Sorkin, help me out here. And tell me where Elon Musk is in regards to X, Twitter X. I remember beforehand on the show asking Kara Swisher, why would he do this? This makes absolutely no sense for him business-wise. This is a nightmare. He shouldn't do this. Why aren't people stopping him from doing this? Why aren't his lawyers stopping him from doing this? This is going to be a nightmare. Even I couldn't imagine that it would be this bad of a nightmare, Andrew. So is there anybody in his orbit that can talk about an exit strategy so one of the most brilliant creators of our time can get back to creating things and changing lives instead of being down in some social media mud pit?
I think that's frankly what Linda Yaccarino is trying to do. That's what she's been brought on to do. But I think that at the same time, there's this great conundrum that Elon Musk has created himself, which is he wants this to be this, full-on laissez-faire free speech platform. And at the same time, he needs money. He needs revenue from advertisers. And irrespective of what you think you're seeing on this platform, advertisers are voting with their feet. They're voting with their pocketbook. They're looking at what they're seeing on Twitter, and they're deciding that they think it's not a brand safe place to be. and how those two worlds, this free speech, anything goes kind of world, even if it's limited, and I know Linda Yaccarino has talked about making some of that limited in terms of an amplification, but even if it exists on the platform at the same time that brands have to pay or want to pay or don't want to pay in this case to be near this stuff, how you make a business out of that, I think, is a real question, and that's what they're grappling with right now. And I think we're all questioning.
Yeah. So, Andrew, I'm going to ask you the business side, but I want to throw this open to everybody because something fascinating has happened. I think, like a lot of people, I jumped over to Threads. I'm still on X. I jumped over to Threads. And everybody on this show will tell you, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Twitter was always extraordinary for its news feed, even when things went crazy on there. I would still get my news feed from there and learn in 5 minutes what I needed to know for at least half a day. It was pretty crazy. I went over to Threads, and I'll be honest, I'm jumping back and forth, but I don't see the same vitality on Threads. I can't get the same news feed on Threads. There's still, even from the left, not the engagement on Threads that there still is on X. So I'm not on either one of them a whole lot, but I'm curious. We had this huge Threads explosion at the beginning. It seemed to have died down, and I can just say as a user, there's I forget, maybe Donnie or somebody talked about squeezing the juice from something. There just doesn't seem to be juice on Threads right now.
Right. I don't disagree with you. I had the same experience. I think they might have one more bite at the apple to really sort of switch things on. They've made a concerted effort and been quite public that they don't want to engage with the news media, and for it to be a platform like that, or at least that has been what they've been saying. They haven't really engaged with the sports community. So if you wanted to do, Twitter NBA or Twitter NFL or whatnot, that hasn't moved over there. I think that if they want to do that, they probably still have a chance given how big the audience for Instagram is. And if they came out with Threads 2.0 and they actually had all the feature sets that Twitter has, remember when it first started, it didn't even have all the same kind of features, and they truly engaged with these various communities, I think that they'd have a shot, but I think it's a one shot at this point more if they're going to make it work. And I don't know directionally if that's even what they want to do at this point, to be honest.
Andrew Ross Sorkin, thanks so much as always, Andrew. So, Jonathan, let's talk a little bit about the real world impact of this, of having the richest man on the planet cheering along, ban the ADL. He was liking a lot of that stuff. He was responding to it, fanning the flames, blaming you guys for the failure of the company he bought. And also to have a former president of the United States, a man who wants to be president again, at least creating space for this, if not saying it explicitly. What are the real-world implications of that? What have you seen change in the last few years?
We know this because we track it, and extremists feel emboldened. It's interesting this is happening while we have these sentences being handed down on January 6th. But the reality is QAnon enthusiasts, conspiracy theorists, hardened anti-Semites, all of these types of people who were under rocks before are now out in the open. And so again, when you have Nazis chanting ban the ADL, when you have swattings of synagogues, when you have bomb threats against Jewish institutions, and the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah are just a few weeks away, that's why the community is on edge, and that's why ADL will not shrink. We will not hesitate. We will be ferocious in fighting hate. And the empty threats and frivolous lawsuits, they don't scare us. And, like you said, Elon Musk truly is the wealthiest man in the world. He's one of the most brilliant innovators of our time. He controls one of the most powerful media platforms on the planet. We're just a small nonprofit. So blaming the Jews, if you will, that's classic scapegoating. It's not what happened here, but we won't stop, fighting all forms of hate, because that's what we do.
It's certainly given some cover, as you say. These people have come out of the shadows again and speaking more loudly, and we've seen violence because of it. The CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, thanks as always. Good to see you.